Focus your fire on the commander. Then, we can destroy the brainwave siphon. The brainwave siphon is now vulnerable. Good. Now move to the second siphon. We need to draw out another commander there. One more thing. The enemy ship is powering up their offensive system. Watch out for missile strikes. I am detecting 2 life forces beaming down. Both are formidable. Caution. The force field is down. Destroy that brainwave siphon. Siphon down, and only one remaining. Gather there with haste. On the ire of the general, take them down and claim victory. You must destroy that brainwave siphon.
Ready to initiate trading.
recover with the Planet Fitness Sweat Cord.
Join and get your first month free. Deal ends March 13th.
With the latest Galaxy from Verizon, you can swipe a whole new look.
We've got a massive video for you today. Fortnite official trailers, we've got 2 of them, almost the entire full Season 2 Battle Pass reveal, and then the V-Buck change, which was announced a couple days ago, and Fortnite's response, which is a little bit more recent. I have not seen the Fortnite community this angry in a very long time, and it's justified. It honestly is. So, I got the trailers playing in the background. The first one is the cinematic trailer. Came out today. After that, there's a Showdown teaser. Next season, by the way, Fortnite Chapter 7 Season 2, Showdown is the official name. And then after that, it's the Save the World free-to-play trailer. So just back to back to back, well, we have a little discussion here, and then we'll get into the Battle Pass stuff and more. So, it all started... The drama that's going on in the community right now, and it is big. It was trending on Twitter. The announcement just from HypeX has almost 50,000 likes, and Fortnite V-Bucks price change, and it's not the good price change. A lot of the things we've seen in the past year, Fortnite's been doing a lot of things that saves customers money, right? The cashback program is a great example of that. But here is the change, right? Same price, but they changed the amount of V-Bucks you get for the price. So $8.99, this is all in USD. 1,000 V-Bucks, now you only get 800. For $22.99, 2,800 V-Bucks, now it's only 2,400. $36.99, 4,500 V-Bucks instead of 5,000. And $89.99, you get 12,500 instead of 13,500. However you want to look at this, whether you're increasing the price or you're lowering the amount of V-Bucks you're getting for the same price, in the end, you are raising the dollar per price cost of a V-Buck, and we can assume that V-Buck prices for cosmetics in the item shop will not change, thus, things are just more expensive, right? That's what this means. Now, I will add in the other pieces here that are important. The battle passes. Battle pass, let's start with that. The main battle pass will cost 800 V-Bucks now instead of 1,000, but you will only get rewarded 800 V-Bucks instead of 1,000, plus 500 free bonus V-Bucks you could have gotten. So a massive nerf there. It looks cheaper, but remember, it's not cheaper because the V-Bucks are actually more expensive to buy now anyway, and you get V-Bucks and then the monthly crew pass will only give you 800 V-Bucks now compared to 1,000. So it's a very confusing way they are doing this, but the confusion I think is on purpose because in the end, it is a net win for Epic. As long as the same amount of players and customers still spend the V-Bucks, right? Like if you raise prices and then you get customers not buying as many things, well then that was just a bad move, right? So it all comes down to whether or not they lose business in quantity because of this change. And we're gonna find out. It's not looking good based on the social media response. Will people actually respond with their spending habits? That's gonna be what determines what Epic ends up doing here, unless we get surprised and they revert this before it's supposed to go into action. By the way, this does go into action with the new season, March 19th, okay? So, here's the update from them. Fortnite did respond. It was from one of the higher-ups on Reddit, so Epic official, I'll call it. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your feedback here, not just about the V-Bucks changes, but sharing your feelings about the current season of Fortnite and the game overall, too. Teams are cooking a ton on next season, and there's more to share soon. So, I mean, it's just the thank you for sharing. Thanks for sharing your anger. Now get excited for the new season, right? I mean, it's not a great response. Might have been better just to not respond than talk about this in this case. And, I mean, what are your thoughts? I've got one more point kind of on this that people are bringing up, right? Like, the reason Fortnite said that they need to raise the price is to help pay the bills. Now, an argument here, right, with inflation, costs go up, so companies raise the price to cover costs. But with digital products like a V-Buck, you do not have a soft cost to produce a V-Buck, right? You can make as many V-Bucks as possible because they're digital, they're intangible, and the price per V-Buck to create does not go up, right? However, I'm sure hard costs for them may have gone up, right? Their buildings, salaries, whatever it may be. Yes, those have went up, but usually the inflation argument will compare to the soft cost to produce the product that you got to increase the price on, right? So even that argument's not great. I don't think that was a good start. And then a lot of people are focusing on the UEFN payouts. Why do these UEFN creators get paid such a huge chunk of the revenue that Fortnite is generating? And now, because the V-Bucks price is going up, they are technically passing off the cost that these UEFN creators are costing them to the customer in this V-Buck change, right? That's another huge part of why people are angry. It's like, if you need to save more money, make more money, then cut down the costs on UEFN, because a lot of people are angry that some of the top UEFN maps aren't being super creative and justifying the millions of dollars that they are making, right? I'm giving you all the info. Let me know your comments, your opinions down below based on this, or if there's other reasons you have. It's a big deal. I don't think they're going to revert anything, but we've still got 7 days before the new season. The only way they would revert is if they notice they're making less money after this change, right? Because less people are playing and spending because of the price change. All right, so speaking of UEFN, I did want to mention this quickly. Starting March 11th, so it's on already, UEFN creators publishing multiple copies of the same map to manipulate the algorithm will face escalating penalties. This is a common tactic a lot of the creative map guys were doing, just spamming the exact same map, because the algorithm is very luck based in a lot of cases. So sometimes your map will make it, sometimes it won't, and you'll see that proven because they'll do, 100 of the same maps and maybe 1 or 2 will make it. It's the exact same map. They've already removed like 6,000 of these in 24 hours. This is a good change. I know there's great UEFN studios out there making great maps, but I think the problem just lies in the algorithm right now. The winners, most of the winners that are getting paid the big bucks, are not the high quality, unique, creative map creators that Fortnite wants to be taking the money, because those unique modes are what's going to take Fortnite to the next level and try and compete with Roblox here, right? That's the whole idea of UEFN from Fortnite's perspective. There it is. Big discussion. Let me know your thoughts. Let's talk about the new Battle Pass. So with the trailer, we got a new Battle Pass skin reveal that I haven't talked about. Some type of squid, right? From this water dimension. Seems to know who Fish Stick was based on the trailer there. And then a new Jules remix skin is expected in the Chapter 7 Season 2 Battle Pass. This is not confirmed yet, but if it happens, it could be this survey version here. And then we've talked about the Order remix skin probably being in the pass. And so this leaves us right now all the skins we know about: Bugs Bunny, Squid, The Order, Ice King, The Foundation, Jules remix, and we're missing a couple others. I will say, pretty hype looking Battle Pass so far. Very excited, just based on what we know from the names, what we've seen. I could almost give this a 10 of 10 already. Thanks to everybody using code TheCampingRusher in the item shop or for the new Battle Pass. I appreciate you typing it in, and make sure to subscribe. Of course, we'll be making lots of videos here as we approach the new season. Other skin news, not Battle Pass, but Daffy Duck will have a skin next season in the item shop. Backbling as well, emote as well. That's confirmed. There was an Avengers Doomsday reference in one of the trailers, I believe the Showdown trailer. Like I said, Foundation and Ice King will return. That's a big part of the theme. And then Fish Stick will return as well. Another piece of the trailer, kind of breaking down some of the teasers and trailers here. One of the texts in the Dark Voyagers hologram translates to "This is absolute BS." Kind of hilarious. That's included in the teaser there. There was a new Fortnite teaser, A Rock in the Woods. Unknown if it's about the Foundation / the Rock's return or Stonewood. I'm going to lean towards the Rock, right, rather than the Save the World thing, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Another teaser, Target acquired. The Dark Voyager is on a tear across realities. Tune in Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, for a new story moment. So kind of a mini live event thing happening if you want to be online Saturday, 3:30. Another teaser, Drive the Battle Bus. Challenge a player as your rival. Join the showdown between the Foundation and the Ice King and drive the Battle Bus. So that's a new feature that I'm excited for, right? What does that mean? Who gets to drive it? Looking forward to get an answer on that. Now, talking about Save the World. Fortnite Save the World is set to be free, and it's coming earlier than we thought. April 16th seems to be the day, and there is some good news here on top of it being free, becoming free. I hope the mode just does well. I'm certainly going to play it more now that it's free. I love these type of modes anyways. But Save the World founders, you will still be able to continue earning V-Bucks. With all the changes announced, people were like, okay, they're making it free, but are they going to take away all the free V-Bucks from the founders? Nope, that still remains the same. And then a couple other things that revolve around the new season. Sprites might be making a return next season. Crimson Desert skin was just announced like a half an hour before I started making this video. And then there was a new, it looks like Captain America Fortnite skin next season that was teased. So there's lots of news coming out. I'm sure the debate will go on about the V-Bucks thing. We'll be making videos here on the channel about it. Touch the like button, subscribe, code the Camper Rusher. Take care, talk soon, good. Bye.
Let's hit the road and get out of here. What the hell is that thing? Phew! I can see it from here.
Scribe is how 4 million people turn processing into step-by-step guides. The hardest part of any job, I don't care where you work, is answering the same questions.
Hello everybody, hope you're having a fantastic day today. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Today, just wanted to give you guys the ultimate fishing guide, basically everything that you would need to know in order to get from the Mark 1 to the Mark 4 reel, and some other tips along the way. We'll talk about bait, locations for fishing, and all that stuff. Let's get into it here. Okay, so let's start right from the beginning. Now, if you have
like, is this genuinely, is this bugged? Or is this how this is supposed to look? Yo guys, what is up? Moxie here with another Borderlands 4 video. Lots of Borderlands 4 news today happening. But alongside the reveal of the expansion, Borderlands 4 also just dropped a new hotfix with a new event. My camera is currently blocking the mini-map, but I'm gonna turn around here and show you, I think, probably the craziest loot event that has ever happened in Borderlands history. They enabled this event that is basically spawning in loot enemies at like 100% rate. So if you are on Ultimate Vault Hunter True Mode, where you get tons of enemies, literally every enemy that you kill in these like Ordinite events, which spawn tons of enemies, is spewing out multiple drops of legendaries. And a lot of these legendaries are enhancements. So I've found tons and tons and tons of legendary enhancements. Some pretty crazy god rolls as well. And we're going to talk about why that is important in a second. But before we do, let's talk about this hotfix. So for this update, it is a minor update, but from March 12th to the 19th, the spawn rate of loot variant enemies and the value of their loot are each increased for a limited time. While you enjoy the extra loot, you can help contribute to the collective legendary loot chase of the March Community Challenge. There's a community challenge. If we collect 1.5 million legendaries, we get new like green Irish skins. I think we'll do this in maybe an hour with these drop rates. I've probably got a few hundred legendaries in front of me right now. They're also doing a triple threat of weekly Big Encore bosses with Backhive, Rock and Roller, and the Driller Hole. Weekly wildcard mission is a total joke. They're giving you the Kaleidoscope, which is arguably one of the worst legendaries in the game. And there's also a Maurice Black Market vending machine location, which I'll show you in a second. Now, one of the biggest things that players are speculating about is when is the inevitable level cap increase. Gearbox has confirmed that there will be a level cap increase happening. Historically, that is with expansions. And I am like 99% convinced that we're going to be getting one with the Mad Ellie Vault of the Damned and Cash Drop. I don't think they talked about it in today's thing because I think it's going to be a free level cap. For Borderlands 2, for example, there was like paid level caps. I think this will be a free level cap for all players, and that's why they didn't talk about it in the podcast about paid content, because it will be free. But the fact that they've turned on this event to give everyone an absurd amount of loot, I think is also very indicative of there being a level cap increase happening. And to further add some weight to that, there's some new posts on Reddit about level 51 gear dropping. This has happened in the past. Prior to level cap increases. Now, I do believe that level 51 gear could drop from the start of the game, so I would take this very much with a grain of salt. I don't think that's technically anything all that new, but it is interesting that people are seeing that happen as well. But I'm assuming we're getting a level cap increase with cash. Now, the reason this event is so important for that level cap increase is most likely if we get 5 or so levels, realistically, you're going to need to get new guns. New guns are going to be really important, and so I don't think this event would be a great time to farm guns. However, class mods and things like enhancements are going to be very relevant even if the level cap increases by 5. It's not like class mods will get more points on them. Their passive stats might increase by like 5 to 10%, but you're not going to care about an enhancement that is slightly higher level if you've got like a God Roll 1 with like triple good stats, for example. And so enhancement in class mod farming currently, I think, is super relevant because realistically that could last you and still use that past the level cap increase. I was still using really well-rolled Phase Zerker class mods in Borderlands 3 that were level 50 when the level cap was 72, because having the right skill points and having the right passives is a lot more important than having, like, 5% higher damage on an enhancement roll. So there are a lot of places that you can go farm this event. I think the Ordinite events seem to be kind of ridiculous. I can't imagine there being more loot anywhere else. But if you are looking to farm for some God rolls, now seems like a really, really good time. By the way, for farming these events, there's so much loot that I would just say F it to the canisters. Don't worry about the canisters. Just kill as many enemies as possible. You realistically will not be able to find canisters in this amount of loot. So just kill the enemies. Don't worry about the canisters. It's okay that you might not get like a 1% pearl drop. It will far make up for it in the amount of legendaries. After a little bit more testing, there are a lot of other places that you can farm a crazy amount of loot. The Ordinite events do seem to be the best by far, like not even close. Drill sites do not seem to be spawning these loot enemies, so don't bother with them. The open world is spawning a lot of loot enemies. I just did this quick little section on the lead up to go fight Soul, and there is a lot of legendaries just dropping out in the open world. Some more over here from these enemies. So these areas are also pretty good. The vaults are great as well. Not the actual boss, but like the mobbing sections leading up to the boss are all really good. If you find any spots that you think are particularly insane for farming loot that don't involve spending any iridium, let me know down below in the comments. Because we're going to be trying to find, some of the most efficient farms that we can. But just off a quick test, avoid drill sites, and just about anywhere else is good. And the Ordinite, Ordinite processor events are like on another tier of their own. For the location of Maurice's Black Market vending machine, you're going to want to travel to Wyclef's Reprieve and then literally just head down from there, down this road. You'll see this kind of big lighthouse building, and then to its right, by the edge of this shack, you will find Maurice, who's currently selling me an Anarchy and a UAV. Anarchy is solid. Not the best week, but Anarchy's pretty good. Your vending machine will differ. Guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. I will catch y'all on the next one. Take care. Peace.
I'm Wazza Shire, and this is P98.
So in case you haven't heard, Battlefield had what EA have called the biggest launch in its franchise's history. And yet, the Battlefield teams just got hit with a round of layoffs. That's not exactly the victory lap you might expect after a massive success. Normally, we expect to hear about layoffs after a game flops. Sales bomb, investors panic, executives start sweating, and suddenly a bunch of developers are being realigned. But Battlefield didn't flop. Reports suggest that the new Battlefield sold around 20 million copies within a few months of launch, which by pretty much any metric I can think of is a massive success. Without even knowing the exact investment cost, I can't imagine this game didn't recoup its investment, and we're not even counting like battle passes and cosmetic sales in addition to that. So if the game sold so well, why are a whole bunch of its developers losing their jobs? Well, I think there's a few layers to this answer and some unfortunate truths about the game industry. Let's get into, well, what actually happened first. EA recently laid off developers across multiple studios working on Battlefield. This includes people from DICE, Criterion, Ripple Effect, and Motive. Now, we don't have the exact numbers on the layoffs, but I think they're fairly substantial. And the cuts appear to have hit several teams connected directly with Battlefield's development and support. And of course, EA released a statement along with these layoffs saying that we've made several select changes within our Battlefield organization to better align, I love that word, our teams around what matters most to our community. Battlefield remains one of the biggest priorities, and we're continuing to invest in the franchise, guided by player feedback and insights from Battlefield Labs. So, reading between the lines, basically, don't worry, everything's fine, except for the people who just lost their jobs. Now, to be clear, Battlefield isn't going anywhere, this isn't a studio closure, but we don't really know how big the layoffs are. But we do still have to deal with the ridiculous headline of Battlefield downsizing their team after a major success. And I think this reflects on some bigger trends and problems that are industry-wide, not just on Battlefield's team, because obviously they're a huge success and yet they're still laying off people. This is, I think, happening across the industry, and there's a bunch of reasons why. One of them is that AAA is massively shifting toward live service titles. That's where they see their future. They're gonna let indie devs have their crazy big launch successes, but AAA is gonna have their forever games that generate tons of live service money. So the launch sales metrics are no longer the most important metric to them anymore. Back in the day, when you launched Battlefield 1942, you know, big success, roll the credits, start making sequels and DLC, it was arguably a much simpler time for these big studios. But today, publishers care a lot more about player retention. How many people are going to stay in the game so that they can keep buying skins and buying battle passes? They're trying to keep you inside an ecosystem for years. And if players stop playing your game shortly after release, well, the long-term revenue potential drops dramatically. And when revenue potential drops, most big studios will do the simple equation. Does it cost more to fix the game and try and get players back in to improve their tail-end sales, or do they just work on a new game? Usually, the math points towards making a new game, even if it can ultimately hurt that studio's reputation in the long run. And then what we tend to see when a live service game reduces its post-launch support is players get less content, players get more bored, they stop playing at an even quicker rate, and it just becomes a cyclical thing in which the live service game fails even faster. Now, the other side of this equation is just how crazy big AAA development has become. Battlefield isn't just made by DICE anymore. It's a multi-studio production pipeline. DICE works on the core Battlefield systems, Criterion supports the gameplay and multiplayer, Ripple Effect handles additional modes and live service content, Motive contributes to technology and development support. Ridgeline Games, RIP, was working on some of the single player. That's a lot of developers working on a single project. EA has already stated multiple times that it's been the biggest Battlefield endeavor in history. But here's the unfortunate catch, and this does apply to small studios as well. You usually only need a massive production team during full production of a game. Once the game ships, the studio usually doesn't need hundreds of developers to continue working on it. As an example, if you have a code team of 50 people that are building the core tech for the game, like all the mechanics with how shooting works and multiplayer code works, and you get that all dialed in and it's working, and then you ship the game, well, you don't need to build any more of those systems. So what do you do with this highly paid, highly skilled team at that point. And that's why it is not even uncommon in this industry to hear about layoffs even after successful launches. This has been happening for as long as I can remember, even well before live service titles were a thing. Teams would get hired, games would launch, the team is fired. Hopefully to be rehired later, but this is such a difficult industry. It's like making a movie. You hire actors and a crew and then launch the movie, and everyone knows that working on the project, once shooting wraps, they gotta go get a new job. And while that's not always the case in the game industry, it sadly is more often than I think we all want it to be. Now, of course, there's another compounding factor here, and that is AI layoffs. Across all industries, from gaming to accounting, AI is hitting teams massively. Teams are replacing workers in mass with AI tools. This has particularly hit coders the hardest, with Claude Code being brought in to multiply the speed of a single programmer. They all of a sudden find themselves with a surplus of programmers. Guess what happens to those people? They get laid off. And I wouldn't be surprised if a bunch of this just happened with the EA teams as well. This technology is progressing so quickly that from month to month, new tools come out that could completely invalidate somebody's job. Now, personally, I wish there was just a great way to fix this honestly really stupid layoff cycle that we see with games, even when those games are a success. I think a lot of the big studios like EA could absolutely plan better for product launches and have alternative projects that could absorb the employee crossover. I know many studios do try and do this, but it's rarely a one-to-one translation, so people get cut from one team and the other team can't absorb all of them, so they get a lot of layoffs. But I do think the AAA industry has gotten wildly comfortable with the layoff cycle becoming kind of a common step in the production and release process. Like, it's pretty much expected in the game industry. When I worked at EA, I would see entire QA teams get laid off and then rehired once they needed QA once again. And working there, you sort of got used to it. You went, oh, that's alarming, but also, I guess, the cycle of how things work. It's just kind of a wild industry. Fortunately, I think medium-sized studios are better prepared and budgeted around these types of things, and they have better outlets for employees who might not be needed on one project to help out in different ways. We're certainly seeing bigger success stories come from those medium-sized studios these days. Perhaps we're going to see some of the game industry stability shift over into the AA studios more so than the AAA studios. More manageable sized teams, less drastic layoff cycles. I do think that the size and damage of these layoff cycles could absolutely be mitigated with better planning and better management. One thing for certain though, it is absolutely ridiculous to see headlines that Battlefield 6 is the best-selling Battlefield game and the best-selling game of 2025, and then they lay off people months later. That kind of situation is absolutely ridiculous. We are absolutely heading into unprecedented times with so much tech change and industry change right now. I wish all game devs the best of luck. It's a really hard industry to be a part of. I hope the people that did get laid off from Battlefield Studios have some luck finding new jobs. And I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about this whole situation. Do you think there's some other factors that I might have overlooked here? Do you have any ideas on how EA could better plan to not have to do so many layoffs after a massive success? Let me know in the comments. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And up next, check out this video on my top 10 single-player FPS games. It is a difficult
You are the lifeblood of this dying world. You are everything. Show me your talents. I'd like for our brave contestants to enter the Shark's Den and prove their dominance. Lay claim to your territory. Defend it from all who would seek to dethrone you. Remain until the end, and you shall perform for me personally in the grand finale. a victor looks like. Here we are at the final. Determination and talent. Tonight, you have proven yourself our sensation. Let this You ready to get airborne? Hop in.
second act, we delve beneath the ocean waves, through the pier, down the chutes, and into the depths of your souls. Apologies, but I can't let you pass without a fight. Consider it personal. You owe me a rematch.
If this is your first time competing, or your 10th, if you've ever felt misunderstood, or held back from your true potential, Mother sees you. I'd like for our brave contestants to enter the Sharkstead and prove their dominance. Lay claim to your territory. Defend it from all who would seek to dethrone you. Remain until the end, and you shall perform for me personally in the grand finale.
Here they come! No! I was supposed to get home.
For inspiring me and all those watching, I grant you the glory of the winner's stage, where you, in one final act, may secure your absolute victory.
Sensation is not a title, but a living embodiment of vigor, determination, and talent. Tonight, you have proven yourself our sensation. You must... You ready to get it? Hop. Touching down.
Welcome back, my brave competitors. Is that the smell of victory on the horizon? Or just an oasis on a breeze, much too sweet to be real? And now, for the second act, we delve beneath the ocean waves, through the pier, down the chute, and into the depths of your souls. One challenge down, one more to go. Why not stop and play for a bit? Life's no fun if you don't smell the roses.
No! Who did that? It's for me. Got it?
I've defeated yet half of myself. Alongside
To those who have made it this far, you are my children to be. You are the lifeblood of this dying world. You are everything. Show me your talent. One of you has been selected to defend an innocent volunteer. This volunteer has their own task to complete. Others seek to halt their progress, or better, their life. Help this volunteer survive the ordeal alive, and so might you.
I have to.
If you keep pushing her, you're stopping her. Get out of the way.
close to your reward. Step up to the winner's stage, leader, and perform in one final act for me.
Tonight, show me what fueled this magnificent victory. You must win. Hey, you ready to hop in and